Hi guys, I'm Mimi Verde and I'm here to share with you my foundation routine. This is just what I do just because I have really oily skin. So I usually use a primer, setting spray, and powder too. So let's get started. The first thing I do is I remove my piercings. I took out my nose ring because I don't want to get foundation on that. I can't take out my lip ring, but I'll move that so I won't get any foundation on it. And I'm going to make sure that my hands are clean, so I'm going to use some hand sanitizer. And then I'm going to take my primer, and I'm using the Bare Minerals Prime Time Foundation Primer. Make sure your hair is pushed back too. And I only just take like a little bit, like that much, and then just put that all over my face. And this primer, it feels like it's oily, but it's actually really not, and it works really, really good. I got this as a sample with my Bare Minerals kit. Since I do have that product on my hands, I'm going to take some hand sanitizer again. And then I'm going to go in with my foundation, and I use the Naked Skin Foundation by Urban Decay. And this foundation is really good for like a lightweight coverage. I've tried so many different foundations, and this is the one that works the best for me. And I'm going to be using the Bare Minerals Perfecting Face Brush, and it just has like a little like reservoir in it for like to put your foundation in. So I just pump a little bit into it, and I'm going to use a pump for each cheek, and then I'm going to use a pump for the rest of my face. And I usually do like a small pump, but it just depends on the day and how much coverage I want. So sometimes I'll use a bigger pump, and sometimes I'll just use like a tiny amount. You want to make sure you get your neck and your jawline, just so it doesn't look like you're wearing a mask. And if you have a lip ring like me, what I do is I just put my tongue where the lip ring is and push it out like that. And then when I go around, so that way I can go around it without getting any foundation on it. If I do get foundation on it, then I'll just take like a Q-tip and some water or a little bit of soap and brush it off a little bit. You want to make sure you blend your foundation into your hairline. I usually put foundation under my eyes, but not over my eyes, because I usually use an eye primer for that. Okay, so once you're done with your foundation, I'll start off with concealer. I use concealer just because I have really dark circles under my eyes. And I'm using the MAC Studio Fix Concealer in NC20. And it's just like a creamy consistency. And I just take like a little bit on my finger and just brush that on to my under eyes and a little bit on my cheekbone. And sometimes I can just blend it in with my fingers, or sometimes I use like a makeup sponge like this, or my beauty blender. And then I use two different types of powders. And the first powder I'm going to be using is the Urban Decay Naked Powder. And I'm in medium dark, because this is the powder that goes with my foundation. And I just put that all over my face. And the brush that I'm using is the Bare Minerals Full Flawless Face brush. Just put that all over my face and under my eyes to set my concealer. powders help with oily skin. I get really oily along my T-zone, so I usually put more powder right there. And sometimes I won't even use powder if I'm just going for a more natural look, or if I don't have enough time, then I won't use powder. And then I'm going to be using blush. I pretty much typically wear blush every day. I'm going to be using the Too Faced Sweethearts Flush Blush and Something About Berry. And the brush that I'm using is the Victoria's Secret Blush Brush. I just put that on the apples of my cheeks. You can also suck your face in too, like this. And sometimes I do that, but sometimes I don't. And I like a lot of blush, and typically blush will fade off sometimes. I mean, if I use a setting powder or like a setting spray, then sometimes it won't, sometimes it will. It just depends. And then sometimes just for added coverage, or just as like a setting powder, I don't always use it, but I'll use the Bare Minerals Mineral Veil. It's just like a translucent setting powder that can be used on any skin tone. And I'll just take a little bit of that. And I use that with the Bare Minerals Flawless Face Brush. So it's just a smaller brush from the previous one that I was using. And I'll just brush that onto my cheeks to set my blush, and a little bit along my T-zone. And if you get super, super oily, then you can just bring a powder with you. You know, just bring like a little compact with you and then just reapply it throughout the day. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be using a setting spray. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter Makeup Setting Spray. They have one called the De-Slick Powder Setting Spray. That's for oily skin, but that one, I don't really think it's that much different than this one, so I just opt for this one. And I do about 4 sprays. You just hold it away from your face. It can be a little bit wet, so you just want to fan your face a little bit. And that is pretty much all I do for my face. Sometimes, depending on the day or depending on where I'm going or how much time I have to get ready, I'll use less or more. It just depends. But this is what I do, and it's good for oily skin. So, yeah. Thanks for watching.